Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm pleased to be joined by Max from Villa on tour. He joined me earlier in the season. I've grabbed him again to get a bit of an update on all things Aston Villa ahead of the game on Sunday. So Max, how's your season going now?
I think last time we played you guys, it feels like absolutely ages ago. I think you had a terrible start to the season, and so did we. To be totally honest, it just feels like absolutely ages ago that time under Steven Gerrard, and we're in a completely different place at the moment. Luckily, I think it was the time to go for Gerrard. It was stale. He didn't know what he was doing, but now it looks good. We've got a clear plan. Still very early days under Unai Emery, but already the signs are there that we're only going up. So we feel like we've always been stuck in 11th. Like no matter what happens, we always feel like we're in that sort of mid-table nothingness, which I don't want to take it for granted because previously we've been down there struggling, and this season especially, it's absolutely crazy down there, as you know. So it's nice to be sort of out of that and looking at it from an outside perspective. But happy days at the moment. It's really, really good. And yes, we had that 3-game losing spell, but that was against Leicester, which was an upset at home. That was a really poor performance from us. But then Man City and Arsenal, anyone can lose them sides. Apart from that sort of 3-game run, it's been really, really good. And Emery's record so far is very, very decent.
I was going to say, you must be pleased by Emery then. What's he done differently to Steven Gerrard to sort of turn the form around pretty much overnight, really?
I think he's seen these players and instantly he knows how to put them in a system, and he's able to change that system in game if it's not going right. Gerrard would have his tactic that he likes at Rangers where the fullbacks would bomb on massively and then the sort of midfielders would cover at fullback. Really, really bizarre. And we didn't have the players to do that. And that was his only sort of tactic. If that didn't work, within 5 minutes of a game, you knew, right, that's it. What's the point? We might as well go home. Emery's got sort of that way. You can see that he's able to adapt within game. He's able to adapt against different opponents. He puts players in the right position. It sounds really simple, but look at John McGinn, for example. Under Steven Gerrard, he sort of played very, very deep in sort of that defensive midfield stage. And it kind of felt like Gerrard wanted McGinn to be what Gerrard was for Liverpool, made him captain sort of out of nowhere at the start of the season, which was a little bit strange. Sort of Gerrard had that issue with Tyrone Mings and left him out first game of the season, which was really, really bizarre. Emery's just come in, sorted all of that out, no nonsense, playing players in the right position. Tactically, very, very good, even though he's only been in the club for a very short period of time. So it's massively different. The guy is an elite manager and he's won things. He knows how to win things. He knows how to grind out wins. He can smash teams. We've already done that so far under Emery, and we can also grind out games. His away record so far is very, very good. We've only lost one game, and that was against Man City. We've won the other 4 or 5, I think it is. So it's a joy to watch, and it just feels like it's 2 seasons in one for us at the moment.
Time to get a little bit hypothetical. You obviously changed manager just before the World Cup, and there was this feeling among quite a lot of fans that if you were going to sack a manager, that's the time to do it. So effectively, they've got 6 weeks, not working with the entire squad. Obviously, the man's shirt behind you there, he was gone for quite a while and stuff. But do you think, how to word this? To cut it straight, is Emery only doing as good as he is now because of that world break? Had he come in and you kept having like a normal Premier League season, would he have had this much impact, do you think? I appreciate it's all hypothetical, but...
I don't think so. I think we had a couple of games before the World Cup. We had Manchester United at home, who Emery had been in the door a week, and we hadn't beaten Man United at Villa Park for 27 years. We had a horrendous... There's sort of like this joke around Villa fans that we never, ever beat Man United at home. No matter the amount of times we've been 2-0 up against them and thrown it away, it's sort of like a joke. And for us to win 3-1, and we were brilliant that day, winning 3-1 made them look absolutely nothing, Man United. I know they're a sort of different side at the moment, but it was just so good. And then the second game, going away to Brighton and winning there, making that look pretty routine. Those are 2 ridiculously hard games on paper for a manager's first 2 games. So maybe it was a bounce. Of course, even Gerrard had a bounce, to be fair to him. But just the way we looked in those 2 games was so good. And yeah, the World Cup break was so important. Of course it was, to sort of get to know the majority of his players. Like you said, we had quite a few players at the World Cup, but for him to sort of see what they were about, sort of learn what their sort of positions were and just the basics about them, just get that sort of 6 weeks under his belt to get to know these players. And sort of coming back after the World Cup break, it sort of carried on going. We had, I think Boxing Day was poor at home to Liverpool, but you're always going to have these sort of games. I mentioned it earlier, the home game against Leicester, where defensively we were horrendous, losing 4-2 after winning that game, leading in that game as well. So we've had ups and downs, but that's only natural. Like, we're not expecting it to completely turn overnight and we're going to rise up to what Newcastle are doing, for example. But the thing is for us, we can see what the changes are and we can see what Emery's trying to do. I think Villa fans have sort of got a reputation for not being patient and we want instant success. But I think we all can see now that Emery's come in and he is an elite manager, like I've already said, and we need to give this guy time. And I'm just looking forward to pre-season now. Don't think too much is going to happen this season. And we've seen it before. Villa sort of go on the beach. Last season it happened. We were sort of where we are now, and then we finished 14th, and it was a little bit disappointed. So I don't want to say Villa on the beach at all, and I don't think we are, because I don't think Emery would allow that to happen. But it's exciting times now. I can't wait for next season already.
Yeah, I think you've got a fair assumption of what the rest of the season will hold for Villa. From a neutral, I think you're right. You stay away from relegation. You probably don't have enough time left to challenge for the European places. So mid-table between now and then, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So you're already looking forward to pre-season, which I understand. What are you expecting or hoping, rather, from Aston Villa this summer? I mean, is it going to be a big one? Is it time to back the manager now and let him kick on? And what is kicking on from here? What does that mean?
I think we'll spend money. I think we do spend money. I think we need to also let a few players go, because Villa fans are always like, right, we'll go again in the summer. They're always expecting quite a lot from a transfer window, but the financial accounts came up this week, for example, and Villa needs to make themselves sustainable, because we haven't done that in the past. We're still paying 10 million a year to our previous owner who left us in 2016. So we've been left in such a mess previously that we just need to sort of settle down. We need to become a sustainable club in terms of how we spend money. We can't go and splash 60 million on a striker or 45 million, for example, like you guys did on Scamacca. I don't think we're going to do that. I think we'll spend money. I think we'll break our transfer record. I think our previous one is Emi Buendia for touching 40 million. I think we'll break that. But I don't think we need major surgery at all. I think we need potentially 2 or 3 big signings. And then I think apart from that, I think we're okay. We've got a very decent squad. Then we let obviously Danny Ings go in January, which caused a little bit of upset. So I think we'll sign a striker 100%. But I don't think there'll be major surgery at all. I think it'll sort of just keep that progression going with a couple of minor additions. But I don't think, like I said, there'll be major surgery at Villa in the summer.
For those who haven't seen too much of Aston Villa this season, who's your players in form coming into this game?
I think the last 2 games got man of the match, John McGinn. He's been absolutely unbelievable. And I think he was one of the major fall guys under Steven Gerrard. He wasn't utilised correctly. And we've seen it for Scotland. Like, you play him further forward as an attacking midfielder, pretty much anywhere attacking, he will score goals, he will get assists. He hasn't scored for Villa in 46, 47 games. He really, really needs a goal. But against Everton. Yeah,
wow.
exactly.
I did not know it was that long. I knew he hadn't scored for a while, but wow, that's a season and a half.
He's been playing so deep. That's the problem. And he hasn't had that sort of license to go forward. But recently, obviously, he's been getting forward, got a couple of assists against Everton, was man of the match last week against Crystal Palace. And I think it's only a matter of time until John McGinn gets that goal. So, yeah, hopefully that happens at the weekend. You're allowed to hear that. But, yeah, John McGinn's been absolutely flying. But I am a little bit worried at the weekend because Boubacar Kamara's got injured against Crystal Palace, and that's not a great injury at all. I think he's going to be out for 5, 6, 7 weeks by the looks of it, which is his second major injury of the season, which makes me think John McGinn might drop back into that sort of deep midfield. But I don't think hopefully Emery won't do that because of how good he's been going forward. So John McGinn, if Kamara was playing, I'd say him because he's one of our best players. He's absolutely unbelievable. He's a Rolls Royce in that midfield, and I think he brings the best out of Douglas Luiz next to him as well. Ramsey is probably our brightest young prospect, but I think he's come back from an injury, played sort of 5 or 6 games, and hasn't really got up to speed, but I think that's coming as well. So I think sort of Jacob Ramsey, John McGinn are the ones to look out for. And of course, I can't believe I've not mentioned Ollie Watkins as well. 5 and 5 prior to the Palace game. But yeah, he's flying as well. So good times.
I'm glad you mentioned Kamara. We've done our preview. It was up last night on YouTube. And in there, when I've watched you under Emery, Kamara's been by far your most influential player, just sitting in midfield, making you tick, protecting the back four as well. And I think he's a huge loss for you. And I have to admit, after our game against Brighton last week, I thought, I'm ready for the 2-0 defeat against Villa next Sunday. Then when I saw your game and saw Kamara went off injured, he was out for a while, I thought, oh, hello. I do feel that gives West Ham a potential big opportunity because, like you said, either you've got to shuffle the deck and start moving McGinn around, or you bring in Dendonkers. He's still a doubt for this game, so therefore it would likely be Callum Chambers if he was just to bring somebody into the squad. Would it be Chambers, do you think?
I think it's going to be Dendoncker. I think it was only a minor injury he was out for last week, so most likely Dendoncker. But if not, it'll be Chambers. And Chambers worries me a little bit. You know what? I thought he was okay against Palace when he came on, but he's not that player you want to have the ball. You don't feel comfortable with him on the ball at all, and that's why he's vastly, vastly different to Kamara, because Kamara's been probably our player of the season so far. He's an
Yeah.
absolute joke. I still can't believe that we've got him for a free from Marseille. That's absolutely unbelievable business. It's probably one of the best things Steven Gerrard did for the club. But yeah, he's an absolute Rolls Royce, and he's such a joy to watch. And he's not just that sort of stopper at the base of the midfield. He's also good going forwards. Like, I think last couple of goals we've scored at home, he's actually been really involved. So he's good at everything, and he's just an absolute joy to watch. So yeah, he's going to be a massive miss at the weekend.
We were linked to Kamara a lot, and I don't watch French football, so I wasn't that arsed when we didn't get him, because I thought, well, how can I be when I don't know what he would bring to West Ham? So I wasn't too bothered. But when I see him for Villa, I'm a bit like, I wish we got him. This, like you said, especially on a free as well. Fantastic business. But let's turn the attention to West Ham, please. What's your thoughts on us?
Not great, is it? Not great at all. I've already done my intro for the game on Sunday, like for my vlog, and I've said I'm disappointed with West Ham this season. I don't know. I think has it just gone a little bit stale there? Do they need to sort of shake up in terms of the personnel? I'm not sure. I've been really disappointed, and it's a little bit unexpected for me. Obviously, winning last night in the Europa League, that's impressive. You know, a little bit of momentum at the weekend. Would that help you guys being a little bit tired coming back from Cyprus? I'm not sure, but it's been disappointing from an outside perspective, and I thoroughly believe that West Ham are in trouble. Might be a little bit of an impact us wanting West Ham to stay up or go down, because we might get an extra couple of million on the Danny Ings sale. That's something to see. But yeah, I do believe that West Ham are down there, and they've had a very disappointing season. And I wasn't expecting it, to be totally honest.
Do you think we'll go down?
I don't. I still believe that West Ham can grind out results. I mean, they've already done it, beating relegation rivals Forest 4-0. Those are the sorts of results that are going to keep you up. And I do believe there's three worse teams: Southampton, Bournemouth, Everton. I do believe West Ham are a slight step up on that, but they're still in danger.
Interesting. I'm yet to meet, when I do these every week for every game, I'm yet to meet someone that thinks West Ham are getting relegated. Everybody thinks, well, the reasonings differ from person to person, but I'm yet to meet anybody that thinks we'll get relegated. Any
Do you think we'll get relegated? I'm going to swing it on you.
Yeah, no, I don't mind. I don't think so, but I don't say it with any confidence.
Yeah.
It's okay. I just think where we are at the minute, I mean, we are terrible at the minute, and we're still outside the bottom three. So I think how we can play this bad and we're still not quite in the bottom three.
Yeah.
And then when you look at our points per game so far this season, it works out at like 0.92. So you multiply that by 38, you need 35 to stay up, which is incredibly low. And then I think, can we get an extra 12 points? And I'm looking at games against Leeds and Southampton at home, and I'm thinking, we surely can get 12 points out of this, even despite how crap we are this season. But that heavily relies on three other teams that's currently below us continuing to only get a rate of 0.92 points per game. And that's a dangerous game. It's a very dangerous thing. I'm not confident we'll stay up, but at the minute, my prediction would be I think we'll just scrape it, but it's going to be incredibly nervous, and I think it might just go to the wire as well. That last weekend, there's 3 games where at the minute teams in the relegation battle play each other on that final day. Like we play Leicester, for example. I think Palace play Bournemouth or something. So Sky Sports could be having a field day with the relegation zone on the bottom. Players you might have from West Ham?
I previously liked Mikel Antonio, and he's sort of the player that would cause Villa massive problems. At the moment, famous last words, probably not feeling as nervous as I normally would do. Fornals has got a ridiculous record against Villa. Whenever we go, there's a Twitter page called AVFC Stato who posts loads and loads of brilliant stats about Villa. Whenever we go into a game, there's always a player who has scored the most amount of goals in his career against Villa, or there's always a bad record against Villa. Fornals, I think, has scored more goals against Villa than anyone else. Obviously, he scored the winner earlier on in the season, so he's always going to be a danger. But yeah, I don't know. I think going forward, Antonio probably would worry me the most, because we sort of a little bit. Villa always sort of struggle against a big burly striker that would, shove us around. Maybe not the best player in the world, but would just cause problems and open up gaps for other players potentially. Declan Rice obviously is a great midfielder, and us not have. I'd love to have seen Kamara versus Rice. I would have loved to see that. But obviously, we're not going to see that. So maybe if Chambers does play, or Dendoncker. Look, Dendonker's one of them players. He's a steady edge. He's a bang average player. So maybe in that midfield, we could get run over. I think that's what happened last season at the London Stadium. Wasn't great at all. We got run over in midfield, and it was a pretty crap day for us. So yeah, that's probably what I'd worry about most going into the weekend.
Not Danny Ings against his former club?
Do you know what? Danny Ings actually does have a very good record against scoring against Villa. Whenever he was at Southampton, he always seemed to score. So yeah, that would be a very Villa thing to happen. Danny Ings to score at the weekend, and he was our top scorer when he left, and Villa fans had a lot of respect for him. It did kind of come out the blue a little bit, the Danny Ings sale, but I think financially and the fact Watkins loves being the sole striker, you've seen it. Give him the confidence, saying, right, you're the main man. He'll score goals. So yeah. The Danny Ings thing, it would make a lot of sense for him to score at the weekend. That would be a very, very Villa thing to happen.
How do you see Sunday going then? How do you see the match playing out?
Like I said, we've won all of our away games under Emery, apart from the Man City one. So Villa, it's nice to see that we've sort of got that sort of way that we can grind out away games. That's really impressive. I think even at home last week against Crystal Palace, it was a dreadful game to watch, but we got that 3 points. So if I'm being a little bit negative, I can see a draw. I think I can see a 1-1, probably because we've always had a bad record going to the London Stadium as well as Upton Park. We've never really been great going away to West Ham, so that's playing on my mind a little bit as well. So I'd go 1-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if we win, because we've got that good way of winning away from home, and we've got some good players now who are banging form, and a manager who knows how to grind out away wins.
We've won our last 5 against you.
It's terrible, mate. It's a terrible record, and we've always got this. Like Everton, since we've got promoted, we've always beat them. West Ham, we just can't do it. It's really bizarre. So yeah, I am worried on that perspective that we're not going to do it just because our record against West Ham is terrible.
Yeah, I remember beating your place earlier this season. I don't even think we were that good that game. I think it was one of our. No. We were average at the very best, but we somehow just got the 3 points kind of thing. But that was against a different Villa with Gerrard in charge. This is why I don't pay attention too much to historical statistics, if you like. Like we've never beaten Brighton in the Premier League, still haven't. But when it comes up and people say, "Oh, we won't lose because we won't win. We've never beaten Brighton. Why do you expect us to win?" I think, yeah, but that goes back to Chris Hughton up against Slaven Bilic. We've both had different managers since then and so on. And I haven't, but I almost want to turn it around and say, well, does that mean we're going to beat Villa then? Because we've beat them the last 5 times we played them. So by that rule of thumb, we will win just because history says so. And I don't like it. I think there's far too many factors, and it's just sometimes there's just statistics that just look strange from the outset. But anyway, Max, you said 1-1, didn't you? Is that your score prediction?
Yeah, I'll go 1-1, and I think West Ham will go 1-0 up, but I think we'll claw it back and we'll be pushing. But I think it'll go 1-1.
Well, hopefully. We're still the only team yet to score in the first 15 minutes of a Premier League game. So,
well, turning that back on Villa, we've scored the most in the first 15 minutes. It's ridiculous. So maybe we'll go 1-0 in the first 15. I think that's mostly at home, though, to be fair. I know like the last sort of 5-6 home games, it feels like we've got an early goal. But yeah, we've got a very good knack of doing that. It's just, can we hold on to that lead, which we haven't done previously? So yeah, it's kind of half and half. Yeah.
Nice one. Thanks for that, Max. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, please do drop a like on it, subscribe to Hammer's channel. You want to hear and see more from Max, head over to Villa on Tour. The link to his channel will be in the description, and his latest video will be on your screen in approximately 3 seconds. Catch you in a bit.